He unzipped his pants and he pulled out his and he didn't say anything to me.
Part 1. Not the first time a pregnant female federal warden was on duty inside the solitary confinement unit, where there was only one inmate, Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. There was no incident report, no recorded footage. No one spoke up, but this morning the first complaint appeared. She didn't hire a lawyer. She didn't send an anonymous letter. She walked into the supervisor's office with a crumpled sheet of paper handwritten and containing only one opening line. He knew I wouldn't dare say anything because in there it was just me and him. That was the night the hallway C security camera went dark for 17 minutes, the last night shift she had signed up for. The moment when all surveillance data suddenly vanished from the central system. No one has confirmed what took place behind the door of the solitary unit, but she is now pregnant, and in the medical report, the date of conception matches precisely with that night. The question is not about what's right or wrong, it's about how someone in custody could turn a facility meant to uphold the law into a tool for concealing a crime. And if this truly happened, then it was allowed to happen. Atlanta, 4:36 a.m., June 4th, inside the digital archive room on the second floor of the Federal Detention Center. The Emergency Investigation Unit is combing through the entire camera log of solitary confinement, Block C, following a shocking internal complaint. A female warden, 14 weeks pregnant, claimed she was coerced while on duty. The only individual present in that area at the time of the incident was inmate Sean Combs, better known as Diddy. The shift took place on the night of March 13th. According to security coordination data, the hallway camera in block code CA17 lost signal at exactly 10:14 p.m. The status light remained off for 17 minutes. There were no internal alerts, no technical support requests, and no incident reports submitted after the shift. The electronic door access history recorded a single entry at 10:11 p.m. by Warden TD, the same person who filed the complaint. No other unlocks occurred afterward. During the blackout period, the isolated hallway contained only her and inmate Diddy. When the system restored at 10:31 p.m., the first image captured was of the emergency light flickering, a signal that the hallway's power source had been tampered with. This was not documented in the maintenance schedule. A hastily prepared system inspection report was filed the next day, signed by the assigned technician. It described the issue as a sudden voltage drop, cause unknown. However, there is no indication that the tech team was ever dispatched to the site that night. 6 weeks later, on April 27th, Warden TD was admitted to the detention center's medical room in a state of prolonged fatigue and morning sickness. The test came back positive 14 weeks into pregnancy. This timeline aligns exactly with the night the hallway C camera was disabled. Since that day, TD has been absent from duty without explanation. A transfer request was submitted 4 days later with no accompanying statement. On the morning of June 4th, a 2-page handwritten document was delivered to the Security Operations Department. In it, she stated she had been coerced. She specified that the walkie-talkie signal was jammed, the camera was shut down, the hallway lighting was switched to backup mode, and she could not get out. No one responded to the emergency call system. And when she finally escaped, she was threatened with a single sentence from the inmate. Now who's going to believe you? Internal data shows that between March 1st and June 1st, there were 3 unusual disruptions to the camera system in solitary Block C, all occurring between 9:30 p.m. and 11 p.m. 2 of these incidents coincided with the shifts of 2 other female wardens. One has since resigned. The other is on extended leave, with no clear reason. No abnormal reports were filed regarding either of those events. But according to a leaked internal document, one of the 2 women was previously verbally threatened by Diddy during a meal delivery. The incident was resolved with a verbal warning, and no official record was filed. The biggest question now is not simply what happened on the night of March 13th, but who enabled it to happen. Why was there no backup recording? Why was the entire shift left without cross-monitoring as per protocol? And if the camera was indeed disabled manually, who had the authority to do it? A cybersecurity technician confirmed to investigators that to disable camera CA17, one must have second floor clearance, access to internal control system code ZN6, and execute the command directly from the main electrical panel. Remote operation is not possible. That means someone had to unlock the control room, perform the operation manually, and then leave. However, the control room door log shows no record of access during that time. So was that access deleted? Or does someone have invisible access privileges? And who is protecting those vulnerabilities from scrutiny? Part 2. The note under the door, 7:23 a.m., June 5th. A janitor working in the ground floor administrative area of the Federal Detention Center discovered a folded piece of paper stuffed deep beneath the doorframe of break room B107. This was the room previously assigned to Warden TD before her sudden disappearance from the duty roster. The paper showed no signs of being sealed, bore no signature, and was written in black marker, the ink still visibly fresh. The only message on it read, You won't be giving birth if you dare open your mouth. The location where it was found falls under the surveillance of a wide-angle camera designated code ABT2. However, according to a technical report filed that same day, the camera had experienced a recording malfunction starting at 3:14 a.m. more than 4 hours before the note was discovered. The malfunction went undetected by the system until it was reported verbally to the technical department at 9:12 a.m. The loss of footage during such a critical time window rendered all attempts to trace who delivered the note effectively useless. No one knows where the note came from, who handled it, or what its true purpose was. But based on analysis conducted by the federal investigative team, that message surfacing exactly 1 day after the initial complaint had been filed is a clear indication of retaliation. Given that the victim is pregnant and has not been seen publicly in the administrative area since, this incident is now viewed as the second act of warning in a series of alarming developments. Despite this, the internal security unit issued no alerts. There was no increase in surveillance. Protective team was assigned. In the internal report dated June 6th, the head of security recorded only one line: "There is no elevated risk of further harm." That conclusion was stamped and submitted to the Oversight Center without peer review or secondary assessment. Access log data from the digital door system in the vicinity of room B107, covering 11 p.m. on June 5th to 7 a.m. on June 5th, showed 5 card swipes. 4 were from cleaning staff. The remaining entry, at 3:21 a.m., was linked to an unidentified access card marked with a gray code, typically issued to temporary tech teams or external inspection units. No username was attached. No cross-reference data was available. No trace protocol was activated. By 10 o'clock a.m. that same day, the access code had been completely removed from the central data system. The Federal Investigative Unit issued a preliminary finding. The internal system appears to have been tampered with, potentially by a high-level staff member. This unauthorized access and the subsequent erasure of data coincided with a now familiar pattern of camera outages, this being the third such occurrence in less than 90 days, all taking place in zones tied to female victims. A closed-door meeting was convened at 3 o'clock p.m. that same day in the 4th floor conference room of the administrative wing. Present were representatives from the FBI, prison management, and the personnel oversight unit. The meeting minutes captured a single statement: "There is insufficient evidence to conclude that inmate Diddy was directly involved in the note." This remains the only official conclusion released to date. Meanwhile, according to a source with access to Warden TD's medical records, she was relocated to an off-site safe house beyond the detention center's control grid at exactly 10 o'clock a.m. on June 5th, just 3 hours after the note was found. The stated reason in the file: protective removal due to abnormal psychological stress, yet no unit has claimed responsibility for the transfer. No paperwork confirms her destination. No witness protection protocol was initiated. There is only a single internal transfer code marked urgent, without explanation, and her name was removed from all internal rosters as of that moment. Was this truly a protective action or a method of quietly sidelining someone who had disrupted the stability of an otherwise controlled system? If she no longer exists in the system, is no longer present, and no longer has a voice, who will pursue justice for her accusation? Part 3. The person no longer in the system. 9:02 a.m. June 6th. The internal personnel database of the Atlanta Federal Detention Center updated its weekly roster under the category Special Personnel Code Adjustment. The name of Warden TD was marked as removed from system by administrative order. There was no decision number recorded, no specific reason provided. Her personnel code was deactivated, her contact information deleted from the internal network. This change occurred exactly 36 hours after she filed her complaint.